that the first form of life on this planet was in water. Well, you have heard about this in so many different ways. People told you there are 9 avatars. Yes? Can you tell me what are the 9 avatars? Matsya avatar? No, don't jump. Kurma avatar? Varaha? No. Narasimha? Vamana? Parashurama? Rama? Krishna? Buddha. 9. Now, you must understand this. Right now people have started looking at these names as people. Look at them as qualities. First form of life was fish. Darwin also agrees. It was in the water. Second development on the planet is amphibious life, Kurma Avtara. Half in the water, started picnicking on the land. Then many other creatures in between, but the next significant life is mammalian life. Among the mammals, the first one is the boar. Even today, you will see… You have wild boar in Rajasthan? Okay. Wild boar or a pig is the most physical animal of all the animals you will find. In the sense, it is so strongly rooted in its body that even, if people go to hunt a wild boar or something, you can't kill it easily. Where we are next to the rainforest. There are tribal villages, these boys who go to school, I'm talking about 10, 12-year-old boys, when they're coming back, if they see a deer, they will take sticks, they'll just pick up sticks somewhere, attack the deer and kill it. I'm saying school boys with a stick. That's how other mammals are made. You also, one knock on your head, you'll fall dead. But this is not the way a wild boar is. It doesn't die easily because it's so rooted in its physicality. Even today, if you see somebody overly physical, you say he is like a pig. No? Because pig represents excessive physicality. So the first mammal he is describing is a boar or a pig. What is next? Narasimha, half man, half animal. Next is Vamana, a dwarfed man. Next is a full-fledged man who is Parashurama, but emotionally volatile. So volatile, he lopped off his own mother's head. Next is Rama, a peaceful man. Next is Krishna, a loving man. Next is Buddha, a meditative man. Next is supposed to be a mystical man. Everybody's claiming it's me, it's me, it's me. You need to understand, these are not people. Those people are representative of those qualities that we're talking about. So, life evolved like this. This is running, believe me, this is running absolutely parallel to Darwin's theory of evolution. This is 15,000 years ago. This, he did not go to Galapagos Islands and put things under microscope and look. He sat there with his eyes closed and saw that if you go deep enough into this, there is an evolutionary memory in this. If there was no evolutionary memory, suppose you're a man and you eat a watermelon, it becomes a man after some time, yes? Now you're a woman, if you eat a watermelon, it'll become a woman. If a cow eats a watermelon, it becomes a cow. Why this is happening is, there is something called as evolutionary memory and genetic memory here. Evolutionary memory is deciding that you only take human form, not suddenly you eat a smart watermelon and you got confused and became a cow. Such thing will never happen. okay? And there is genetic memory, which clearly says, this is a woman's body, eat whatever you want, this will only become a woman, not a man. Because the genetic memory is intact. Why people are fighting against genetic engineering is because of this. Once you meddle the plants and then the animals, then it'll come to you. Then you don't know. If they do some mistake, you will become half man, half animal once again. We don't know what'll happen. So that is the resistance for genetic engineering, because once you start meddling with the basic material, you don't know what'll happen because we have not figured it completely. So he looked into his evolutionary memory and he says, first we were fish, then we were this, all the 9 things, and now you're here. Now that you're here, you've taken on this human form. If you want to evolve from here, you can only consciously evolve. Your physical evolution is over. For this, there is an entire mathematic as to why your physical evolution is over. There are many aspects of it. I will not go into the mathematics because a few ladies just shook their head, no, we don't want mathematics. But there is no mysticism without mathematics. To put it very simply, the nature of who you are right now is a consequence, a complex amalgamation of memory, of variety of memories that you have. You have this kind of body because of evolutionary and genetic memory. You like this, you dislike that because of various levels of unconscious, subconscious, karmic and other types of memory. You have no control over it, what you like and what you dislike most of the time. You will have to strive hard to rise above that. Because memory is determining everything about you. So, when we say evolution, in a way we are talking about the play of memory and the building of experience and growing into various levels. So he is saying if you're willing to strive, you can transcend everything that limits you. Only thing is, your physical body is not designed to change anymore, because with this solar system, he even mentions this, unless there is some significant change in the solar system, you cannot evolve physically. They naturally asked, you have grasped so much but our brains are struggling, can we grow this a little bit? He said no, in a different way, but today modern neuroscientists are saying this. Your brain consumes 20% of the energy generated in this body. Though it is only this much, I'm sorry, am I showing too small? Okay. Though it is only this much and it is lightweight because mostly it's air. In spite of that, it consumes 20% of the energy generated in your body. The rest of the body, so much, consumes remaining 80%. So if you want to increase your intelligence, whatever, if you increase the size of the brain, the amount of power needed for that, body cannot provide. So you cannot increase the size of your brain. Another way of making this happen is, you can pack more neurons into the same size. Then you may have sparkling intelligence, but there will be enormous cross-connections and confusion all the time, and you will become super restless. Some of you may have children like this at home. They're super restless, they're intelligent, but they're all over the place because too many neurons are packed in their brain. Now immediately you take them to a doctor, they will give them one of the 3 alphabets, ADD, ADY, XYZ, something something, MNOP. No, you should not start medication. What you need to do is, if you have a child like that, you must take time make them walk in the nature, take them for a 3-day trek in the desert, go and swim somewhere, expose them to nature and lots of physical activity. The body will manage itself, it will eliminate the extra neurons that are there and come to its own balance. If you medicate, you must understand any medicine that you take has no intelligence to go to a specific place, it goes everywhere. They can't just dull some part of the brain, they'll dull the whole brain and the whole body. You'll destroy a child's life very early simply because somebody is eager to give pharmaceuticals. Anyway, so he offered this dimension that if you're willing to strive, you can transcend all limitations. Whatever the limits nature has set for us, every one of those things can be crossed if only you're willing to strive. This is what Adiyogi conveyed to them and then started giving out methods how to transcend their present limitations. People just believe this is how we are, even now, right? This is how we are. No, 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 this is not how you are. Unfortunately, this is how you made yourself to be. But you can also make yourself to be more and more and more in many different ways. Have you seen in the same day, sometimes you're wonderful, sometimes you're horrible? Hello? Yes. Lot of horrible people. So I'm saying, you always think it happened to you. No, no. You can make yourself wonderful, you can make yourself horrible, isn't it? So you can be in limitations, you can be beyond limitations. So for the first time he brought this to humanity and then he spoke about how every creature on this planet has evolved beyond its own limitations with striving over a period of time. Or in other words, he propounded the theory of evolution 15,000 years ago.
एक नदी से बह रहे हैं आदियोगी।
We upgrade our technology all the time. You get the new iPhone, you get the new apps, you upgrade all these things. But when's the last time we took time to upgrade the most important thing?
Why you felt compelled to update this book?
Well, I would say the world has changed, obviously, the past few years. And so this is a book to really prepare you to not only survive, but thrive in a post-pandemic AI world. So the external world has changed. And then my personal world has changed also as well. You know, I'm in my 50s now, and we had our first child. And those kind of life conditions make you want to reflect, and it's really deepened my commitment and my conviction to help the next generation, especially, to have a better brain so they could handle the onslaught of information overload, digital distraction, digital dementia, digital depression, and so much more.
Since you brought up having a first child, how did your brain deal with having sleepless nights maybe for the first time in a while? Maybe you can help our listeners through that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big chapter in the new book on sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things we could do for our brain. If people think about when they get a bad night's sleep, whether they have a newborn or not, your brain doesn't really work the same way, right? How's your ability to think? How's your ability to solve problems? How's your mental energy to endure tough tasks? How's your memory, your focus, concentration? All of that slips. And so, yes, we talk about, it's been an interesting, especially the past few months with the baby teething and up all night. And it's been a process. It really forces me to double down on what we teach. Because when we're talking about performance and productivity, especially the mental side of it, it's critical we get adequate recovery. And so our brain's not meant to go all, full force 24/7. We need those periodic brain breaks throughout the day, and certainly getting good 7 to 9 hours of sleep, especially the quality of the deep sleep and the REM sleep, is so very vital. So we could definitely talk about some of my quick tips to optimize your sleep as well.
Maybe this is actually a good place to start, since you brought it up. All of us talk about it, all of us write about it, and yet whenever people are writing in on Instagram or YouTube, they go, oh yeah, it's fine for you to say you need 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, but come on, be realistic. That's impossible. I'll sleep when I die. I'm an entrepreneur, and if I get 4 hours of sleep, it's a great day, and I'm at my sharpest when I am only getting 5 hours of sleep. What say you?
So I would say that we probably those individuals probably underestimate in when it comes to our productivity and our performance, even our profitability, and certainly our peace of mind, the importance of sleep. I would say that life conditions are tough, right? They're global events. There's a lot of fear that's out there that keeps people ruminating throughout the night, and it keeps them from falling asleep, staying asleep also as well. Obviously, people are more addicted to their devices now more than ever, and all the context switching on our phones at night and the light that comes from our screens, all of that adds to the ongoing challenges and the onslaught for us to get restorative rest, to be able to bounce back. And not only bounce back, how do you bounce forward? And so there are simple things people could do. I always like to, my last name really is Quick. I didn't change it to do what I do. So we offer a lot of quick tips in our book, especially the new one on how to improve your focus, your memory, your ability to read faster, to be able to lead better also as well, and create momentum in your life. But sleep is definitely one of those cores. It's right up there along with exercise and diet and social connections. Some of my favorite things to do for sleep, and I'm curious for you also as well. We've had you on our podcast, and love to have the conversation. For me, I notice what moves the lever is sunlight first thing in the morning is really important. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. Going outside if it's possible. I know with our windows, it could keep some of the spectrum of light out, but the reason why sunlight first thing in the morning is so important, it helps you to reset your circadian rhythms, which is important first thing in the morning to get a good night's rest. For me, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I can't have caffeine in my system past maybe 2 p.m. max. It could stay in your system 8 to 10 plus hours. And so I want to be conscious of that. Probably the biggest needle movers, in addition to light first thing in the morning, everybody has an alarm to wake up. A simple thing they could do is set an alarm to go to sleep. Your nervous system loves that kind of regulation, staying on a structured schedule, even on the weekends. And nobody gets this perfect. The goal is not perfection. But, some people have so much anxiety about what they eat or lighting everything, and it kind of negates some of the benefit of eating those good foods or doing some of the things that are good for you, because that chronic stress is a challenge also. Chronic stress has been shown to shrink the human brain. If we're in fight or flight all the time, it also holds us hostage kind of keeps us in our survival brain and doesn't allow us access easily to our executive functioning, to our critical thinking, to our ability to solve problems. So setting an alarm is something simple you could do to be able to know it's time to phase into that parasympathetic rest and digest. Turning off your devices an hour before sleep, because again, our brains really didn't evolve to have that kind of stimulus where we have the access to the world's information, right? This close to our brain. I would also say that 2 things that could make a big difference. If you think about hunter-gatherers, they would know it would be time to go to sleep because the environment would tell them so. There would be a drop in 2 environmental factors, in temperature and in light. So again, this is common sense, but it's not common practice. So cooler, the better. Now where it's so cold, you're shivering, because that would be very distracting and make it more difficult to sleep. And a drop in light. And so getting off our devices, because with modern conveniences, Dr. Gundry, it doesn't have to get colder. It doesn't have to get darker, right? We have all these, modern technologies that allow for it. So we have to make a conscious choice to do these things and not be mindless about it. Something simple like taking a warm bath or a sauna or a warm shower. When you get out of it at night, your core body temperature is going to drop, which is a signal to produce melatonin, your natural relaxation tool. And especially if you take a warm bath with like magnesium, because you could absorb that magnesium transdermally, which helps you to be able to relax at night also as well. And besides a colder room, a darker room also as well. And so some people use the glasses to block out some of the lighting, or they use red bulbs. For us, the big thing is not being on the phone, because again, not only for the light, because we trick our minds into thinking it's still daylight, but also because the content on our phones can be very aggravating and stimulating, especially with the news that's going on today.
Yeah, those are all great points. I recommend to people in my book, one of the easiest things to do that you just brought up is to take warm, hot bath right before bedtime. And you're right. Put some Epsom salts in the bath water. Magnesium is a remarkable sleep aid. And dropping core temperature, we don't go to sleep until our body temperature drops. And that's just a great trick. And people go, oh, I don't have time for a hot bath, or that's lazy, and, I should be on my phone, another half hour. But you're right. Setting a time to go to bed. I keep telling people that get a dog, because dogs will keep you on a timetable. Our dogs literally signal, okay, it's time to go to bed. They sit there and stare at you about 8:30 at night going, excuse me, it's time. And of course, then in our household, they're staring at us at 5 o'clock in the morning, jumping on our chest to get us up. So dogs are great because that's how it's supposed to work. And you just follow your dog's lead.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom. We have 2 dogs ourselves, and so a lot of organic, natural wisdom in animals for sure.
Right. And the dog makes you go out and face sunlight early in the morning, whether you want to or not. So it's a win-win for sleep.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of patients, since you brought up the word ruminate, that for probably obvious reasons, we do a lot more ruminating than probably our parents did or our grandparents did. Is there a solution to this? Come on, you're the brain expert. How do you stop this constant talk in your brain?
There are a number of tools that are quick and easy and even can be enjoyable. And we could start with small, simple steps. Sometimes making big steps maybe is challenging for a lot of people, but I think little by little, a little can become a whole lot. For my day, it's interesting. I plan my day, and it's not always perfect, but I'll give you the principle, and people could see what I do. And I'm not saying do exactly what I do, but understand the thinking behind it. And because behind every principle is a promise. And for this is going to be greater productivity, performance, and peace of mind. So when I wake up and I'll go to the rumination part, just to set context for my day, I really focus on 3 or 4 C's. And I like to alliterate a lot because it makes it very memorable and sticky for the listeners who happen to be right now driving or working out and they can't take notes, even though we could turn this into a little bit of a master class on brain optimization. The first C in the morning, I really focus on creativity, meaning I want to pull information out of my brain, because that works really best for me. I don't want to put input in, so that's why I don't touch my phone first thing in the morning. You and I talked about in the previous episode that, and I have a Facebook video that has 37 million views just saying don't touch your phone the first 30 minutes of the day, because it rewires your brain for distraction, it rewires your brain for reaction, and it's really hard to have a really good day if you can't really manage that first hour of the day. But it doesn't have to take a lot of time, because the challenge with the brain is when we task switch, when we think we're multitasking, but we're task switching and we go from one thing to another, we light up a different network in our brain, a different cognitive web, and there's up a lot of energy. So people feel that crash throughout the day. Part of it is because of just how we're managing our behaviors throughout the day. I'll give you an example. In the morning, I want to be more creative. I'm not looking for input, I'm looking for output. And for me, it comes in the form of, that's when I design podcasts. That's when I write. I put together curriculum for programs. I work on the strategy of our business. I'm creating. The second phase, usually around lunchtime in the afternoon, I'm consuming, right? So we're creating, I'm pulling out of my brain, consuming, I'm putting in the input. And what am I consuming? I'm listening to podcasts such as yourselves. I'm reading, I'm doing my research, checking in with the team, consuming and doing a little communicating. The communicating, I try to also task together and I bucket it together so my brain doesn't have to switch different tasks. That's usually, I do most of my communication when I go on walks, even if it's on a Zoom. I'll carry my phone and I'll go for a walk and I'll get my steps in. And I